So guys, this next segment is something I'm super excited for because Jay and I have been talking about this for a long time, which is what is the shift and how do we make that possible? We really have to know what the component parts of this are. And it really starts with the haves and the have-nots, the agents who really have it going on and those who are kind of playing catch up and we don't know why, right? But we know why. That is embedded in their mindset.
Exactly. Their mindset.
But we could talk more about what is that? What is that
The
thing?
mindset of the training that they've been almost brainwashed to do in this industry is literally setting them back.
Yeah.
In a really great market in which there's a plethora of deals, tons of market activity, okay, healthy interest rate climate, the mindset deficiency is actually kind of blindfolded a little bit. So even the worst agent can thrive in those environments. But when times are tougher,
fish in a barrel kind of situation.
That's where the truly effective and efficient agent, what we call the unconventional agent, they rise to the top. They rise to the top. And you mentioned haves and have-nots. There's going to be a lot of have-nots in this industry. You're Xing out the things that don't work, and you're implementing things that do work and work in literally 1/10 the time. If you follow the right procedural steps. And you're gonna gain so much additional time. Talk about work-life balance. You talk about the anatomy of an agent in terms of having more time for their family, more time for their lifestyle, their hobbies, whatever it is. This is what we're doing. We're giving them more income generating, revenue generating, transactional generating power, but also a lot more personal time for their own personal needs.
It's a 4-hour work week type of mindset, right? We want to work smarter. Well, it's like when we get into the industry, what happens? The manager is going to come to you and they're going to say, what are your goals? How many deals do you want to close? You know, how much money do you want to be making? Try to stay away from the transactional side of goal setting initially because people get clenched up when they talk about their goals because they're like, I don't know if I can do it. It's too much of a reach for me. You know, I don't know if I can get to 1 million. You know, that's a lot, you know? But, you know, here's the thing, guys. It's just a bunch of zeros is what one luxury agent told me. And this guy's from Brooklyn. He went out to Las Vegas. He crushed it in this one area. It's all golf course communities. This guy is unbelievable. And when you see him, you don't know he's the top agent in Las Vegas, closing deals with his partner who's on the commercial side. Those guys are like the badass team and they're humble and they're easygoing. They come from the hotel industry, so they know about hospitality, but they're not about, you know, crushing your face into their brand about what slicksters they are. You know, it's not about being slick. It's just about being what you want, right? But the actual question is not that, it's your why, right? Why do we stray from our Simon Sinek sort of analysis? Because that in itself, and if you're familiar with Simon and his and the reason between what you're doing and your pursuit towards your dream, and then straying from that, because we have to think bigger than just a transaction in this case, because our what do they call it, the neuroplasticity, right? The RAS, right? The reticular activator system is always constantly imagining what we want, and it's manifesting. So there's a psychology and a science behind this, and I think most agents understand that they need to be doing certain things, but it's actually the implementation, Jay, right? This is the key. And I think as we mature and we see how this can unfold in our business, then it's the aha moment sets in, right? And that's what you're talking about, right? You're talking about all the particular things. It's the what, right? But what is the how? Like, that's what we're going to talk about.
Exactly,
next, right?
exactly.
So guys, what we really need to appreciate about what Jay is talking about right now is the state of our mindset as it is doing what we know we should be doing, but we're not doing it. And it's not a conscious thing, right? Subconsciously, our mind is always actively perceiving, I guess you say, positive and negative inputs, right? I remember seeing this, and also the power of believing in a powerful why, right? With Simon Sinek, for instance. We need to work smarter, but we also need to believe in what we don't know. And what we don't know is all actually how we can manifest these dreams that we have and turn them into reality, and not just write it down as I'm doing this many transactions and this is what I want to set for my goals this year and all this stuff. It's a bunch of old school tactics is what we're talking about. And shifting into the new is where we need to go. Get the industry and where do we get our training and how fast our agents churned out into the industry. I mean, it is skyrocketed. And who's training these agents and how did they get out there and where do they learn how to interact with clients?
Boiler room.
It is.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, think of that, right? If we've ever seen one of these movies, we know, when it comes to sales tactics, sell me the pen, it's like, it's pressure tactics, We're not talking about transactions here. We're talking about putting you out there naturally. So you're not considered the commission breath type of guy. We want to ease the tension there, pass that baton to the next guy and give you guys a brand new fresh start, because ultimately what we're talking about right now is going to already give you that impact. So there's really no need to get into pressure sales tactics, I think is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And when I envision the consummate real estate agent door knocker, what I'm thinking is this. You are literally cold calling, you're literally soliciting through a door knock, families. It could be John and Jane, the boomer next door. It could be the Ryan family with 4 kids down the street from you. You are literally soliciting them to sell their home for a commission to be earned. That's what's happening right now. That's what you are trying to force a transaction and tell people why this is an awesome time to sell, simply to put your name on a flipping leaderboard in your office. Are you kidding me? To earn a commission and earn a living. Are you kidding me? Well, this is the way that real estate agents are perceived, and that's got to stop. And we're changing that narrative right here, right now, with our system. That you're going to be the professional that people come to when they're ready. Not when you're ready to solicit them, when they're ready because their life changed, because the circumstance changed, because they got a bunch of money and they want to buy an investment property. They got their cousin, looking to relocate out here to Boise, Idaho. They're going to think of you and call you when the time is right. Doesn't that feel better?
And guys, regardless of what you've learned and what you've been taught, it's not so much that we're shaming those who have gone through that, because to be honest, I feel like this psychology applies to anything, whether it's your family and whether you're in a daily routine. We just want you to be at your best. We want you to be perceived in the best light. And ultimately, when it comes to the brand and it comes to the techniques that we're going to teach you in this next step, this is what we're trying to phase out the old and give you guys something that you can actually believe in and bank on. Okay, let's get to that, Jay.
Sure.
Let's keep it moving, because you know what I think? Everyone gets what we're going, but they're at the edge of their seat wondering, what the hell are these guys getting to anyway?
We don't want to talk about pain.
I want to talk about pain. Actually, you know what? I'm going to talk about one guy that I really actually think is up to something. It's David Goggins.
Love that guy.
Yeah, that is an amazing. I saw him at Tom Ferry, and man, he lit up the room. And what does he talk about? He talks about that. Get yourself into action and
suffer every day.
And I think that guy cusses more than anybody I know. He's everything
worse than me.
This, And you know what? I mean, yeah, you can go back to the Abraham Hicks and you can go back to all the affirmations and all that stuff. But you know what he'll say? It's all but a bunch of berries. We gotta, And you know what, guys? It might not be for everybody, but it's the concept of making it happen, right? So that's what we're talking about in the mindset, is writing down your goals. You're talking about vision boards, correct?
Vision boards, there's all these things about positive affirmation thinking.
But handwriting your ideas, your goals, has a remarkable effect. It's actually 10,000 times more powerful than typing. So if you're gonna write your goals, write it by hand, get a freaking piece of paper and write that. That's what David Goggins would say. These are the things that we can actually make happen. The question is are you just living on hope, or are you actually putting a system together, right? A system that you can actually count on that can make a difference in your business. And I really feel like Jay has figured this out, and is why he's here today to talk to us. Because you know what? It's real, you know, and we really need to get our hands around this, and it's why we've set up this boot camp, this program, and we call it a system, okay, that you're going to learn about all the facets and components of it. But we're just going to start off by going through this piece by piece so you can understand what the big headlines are, so you can dig deeper into it once you get started, and we have our conversation at the very end about that. And that's what we're going to teach you. It's like, how do we make it happen, put practical steps together, putting this together in the lesson for you. That's what we're going to get into right now, Jay. Let's go.